Telkom reported a 51.9% fall in half-year earnings, dragged by slower growth in its mobile business, a decline in its legacy fixed-line unit, and higher expenses. Telkom, whose mobile business is the third largest in the country, also saw direct costs increasing, driven by materially higher handset and equipment costs. For more, we are joined by Chief Executive Officer Serame Taukobong. Serame, thank you so much for your time. In a period that is characterized by strained economic conditions, take us through the 6 months that was for Telkom.
Thank you very much for having me here, and good afternoon to your viewers. I think you're absolutely right. We saw a challenging economic environment. If we look at instance, the cost of diesel due to load shedding, that increased by over 154%. We are also seeing customers feeling the pressure, even down to the customers who have to make a decision between either taking a taxi to get to work or loading airtime. However, we believe that our broadband strategy remains resilient. We've seen strong positive growth across all our broadband parameters, both in mobile, in OpenServe, and also in our BCX building.
So let's then unpack it a little bit further by, talking about the different business units. From an operational level, how would you characterize their performance?
So if I look at our business units, we look at mobile business. Mobile has increased by 10.9% in terms of subscribers. We're now sitting at over 18 million subscribers. We've also seen an increase of 550 petabytes in data, representing 14.1% increase in that. As you highlighted in your opening remarks, we intentionally sought to recalibrate our mobile base by focusing on a higher acquisition of postpaid. This came at higher costs because of the handset pricing, but we're pleased to say that the results show that our postpaid has grown by 10.1% versus the last period. So we are continuing in mobile to de-risk ourselves from the legacy fixed line, and that only accounts for 6.2% of revenue in that business. On OpenServe, our traditional fiber business, we're seeing our next generation network now commanding over 70% of our revenue. We've increased the number of homes passed, and most pleasingly, we are sitting at a connectivity rate of homes passed at 46.2%, which is the highest in the country. We continue to invest in supplying backhaul, not just to Telkom Mobile, but to other mobile operators, and this is a high growth area, especially for a 5G. If you look at BCX, a positive turnaround, we're seeing growth in our IT business, which is highlighting the demand of IT services such as cybersecurity and IT advisors. So I think the next generation platforms and the focus on broadband is beginning to yield fruit for us.
For the benefit of our viewers, how competitive is the mobile sector right now?
I think the mobile sector has been characterized by high levels of competition. We have responded in kind to make sure that, one, we retain our customers, and two, grow, and is showing the growth numbers that we're seeing on mobile.
With the environment that we've just described and the performance of the different business units, when you look at capital allocation priorities, to what extent have they had to change, or are they still the same, going into the next 6 months?
So there has been some adaptations in terms of how we balance that. So from a mobile perspective, the focus on CapEx is to really reduce the impact of roaming and also the impact of load shedding. So that's more about looking at managing our costs and ensuring continuity of the network. As far as OpenServe is concerned, we've seen significant increase in homes passed, which also reinforces our broadband strategy to make sure that we take the lead in that sector of the market.
A little bit earlier on, I suppose, call it probably a month or so ago, we were all talking about a possibility of an MTN Telkom, merger, and Rain came into the picture. As it stands right now, I mean, how long are you giving the Rain discussions, or even, I suppose, call it the test cases for it? Do you have a time period in terms of when you would decide whether you want to walk away from the table when it comes to discussions with Rain?
As you rightly said, we received a proposal from Rain. The teams are currently engaging to identify the potential synergies. We've collectively given ourselves a date stop of by the end of December, whether it's a go, no-go decision.
Over the next 6 months, what will you and the team be focusing on? And given the, I suppose, the description we've painted around the economy, around how consumers are feeling quite constrained, what does that mean for you in terms of your objectives as well as your revised medium-term outlook?
I think we definitely accept that the next 6 months, the fundamentals are going to be the same. We are going to be working in challenging environments. We will continue to accelerate our next generation growth platforms, de-risking us from the reliance on legacy platforms. On mobile, we will continue to offer aggressive pricing, as well as also other services such as like your airtime advance, which customers are very favorable with. So the key thing for us is to make sure that we retain our customers as long as we can by offering them competitive value given the challenging economic environments. We are also looking at de-risking our reliance on diesel power by looking at other sources of power to make sure that we don't have such a high reliance on diesel and the high costs that come with it.
From a CEO's perspective here, perhaps you can let us in on some of the concerns for you as the CEO. I mean, if you had to not look at just Telkom on its own, but the broader business environment in South Africa, economic environment as well. Are there any risks to perhaps even your strategies going forward?
I think for us, as you know, it's how do we really ensure as an organization that we continue to deliver results in uncertain times. We are living in times of uncertainty, and it's really how we pivot as an organization to make sure that given the unstable environment that we're in, we continue to focus on our delivery. So for us, execution is key, managing our costs ruthlessly to make sure that we optimize profitability in our business.
All right, Serame, thank you so much for your time. Let's leave it there. That is the CEO of Telkom, Serame Taukobong, talking to us about the interim period that was for the particular group.